What's something inherently toxic that is perceived as normal? Asking a prospective employee to create a full-on project or develop content specific to the position applied for. You might not get the job, but the company has your intellectual property, and plenty are not above using it as their own. Edit. Who knew? I just threw this out there because it happened to me. And I couldn't believe the balls-out nerve of people asking me to create site-specific content to test my skills, which were well documented by portfolio and easily verified. I guess I'm not the only one. Yup, many translation agencies translate entire books for free using the "please translate these 20 pages" as a recruitment assignment method. Yeah, I have done couple of these assignments. Never heard back from them. My mom did something similar back in the 1990s. She hand-painted some 25 tiny decorative frogs, to see how skilled are you, and never heard from the person again once she brought them in. She put lots of effort into it too. Overworking. To add to this, the expectation that a hobby isn't worth having if you can't, or don't want to, monetize it. The intrinsic value of my hobbies is the maintenance and improvement of my mental health. Going to work cool even if you're super sick or in pain, not having days off, being expected to have perfect attendance in school or at work, etc., etc. I'm surprised nobody else has said sleep deprivation yet. Sleep deprivation literally causes brain damage to the part of the brain responsible for happiness and memory. There is a reason military regulation requires soldiers be provided 8 hours of sleep. Because sleep deprivation is a form of torture. As a soldier, I can tell you, despite what regulation says, sleep is considered optional. Though we did just get a regulation pushed through that authorizes naps, so that's good. Sleep is considered optional. I remember a friend of mine joking during a really brutal training thing we did where we were only given about 5 hours of sleep a day. Man, when this is over, won't it be great to get REM sleep? I had insomnia for about 6 or 7 months. Getting maybe 2 hours drooling a night. There's nothing more frustrating than day after day of headaches, hallucinations, eye strain, muscle spasms, feeling drained. You get these micro sleeps where you suddenly jolt awake, the depression, and not understanding why you just can't fall asleep. It's arguably worse than being kept awake because there's no logical explanation to it. No racing mind, nothing. You just cannot fall asleep. These days, I sleep like a rock mostly, maybe wake up once a night now for a piss, then randomly wake up again but go back to sleep easily. But at my worst I didn't sleep at all for 3 nights in a row and I drove just over 3 hours home. My mum took one look at me and gasped and I just fell to my knees in tears. I slept 14 hours, and then nothing the next night. Insomnia when you're just lying there with your eyes closed and can't fall asleep without knowing why is absolutely torture for sure. Original poster replies. This. Fun fact, for every night of sleep that you don't rest well, it takes 3 good nights of sleep for your body to recover properly. Not saying what you mean. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I hate people that do this. Just say exactly what you mean, please. Don't beat around the bush. I'm not going to waste brain power trying to work out if you mean what you say or something else, and if it's something else I'm not going to bother working out what that is either. People that make you come over and stare at a file you prepared for them. Do you see anything wrong with that? No, Karen, I don't. I wouldn't give it to you otherwise. I feel like it's a big cause of anxieties and related stress. When I was growing up, people would point out each other's mistakes or habits in a way that's not disrespectful. It's all in the tone and intention. And if you're used to that, no one will say, "Oh my God, they raised their voice slightly at me, they must hate me." Case in point, when I lived in Poland, where people are a lot more forward, versus moving to UK where I was told not to tell my housemate to clean her crap up in the kitchen to be polite. Dude, clean your dishes. I'm not going to live in mess to spare you feeling bit dumb for being a pig. Don't be a pig. Plus, if you know how people feel about you, you don't have to agonize and wonder if they're just pretending to be nice or if there's something you can improve on. We're social creatures, and like any social animal, we keep each other in check to keep order and peace and good vibes. I'd rather someone tell me something bugs them, so I can fix it. Tell me they're not interested in hanging out in case of vague maybes. I'm not going to get offended if I'm doing something that could be done better. As long as you're not in butthole about it. Edit. Thank you kindly for the awards. The amount of sugar in everything. Worse, the amount of stuff that is supposed to replace sugar in everything. High fructose corn syrup, partially hydrogenated something or other, imitation saccharin, etc. etc. Some of that stuff is even way worse than sugar. Yes. I remember getting a mocha from Starbucks a long time ago and was disgusted by how sweet it was. It was like drinking a less viscous syrup. Now on the rare occasion that I go, I get my drinks half sweet. Also, many store-bought sandwich breads are oddly sweet. American bread has way more sugar than European bread. I find it disgusting too. Ireland even ruled that because it has 5 times too much sugar. I only buy bakery Italian bread if I want any. Web link. In my industry, manufacturing, mandatory overtime. Pre-COVID, it was totally normal for people to have to work 50 hours a week, sometimes 7 days a week for months at a time. The whole point of time and a half was to discourage companies from making people work more than 40 hours regularly. And yet, for most of 2018 and 2019, people like my father-in-law had to use PTO to be off on a Saturday or Sunday. Parents screaming at children during Little League games. I'm a car salesman and one of my customers a few months back was a referee for a few different youth sports. He said he's had quite a few instances of kids coming up and trying to slyly ask him to have their parents kicked out of games, or to see kids break down over their parents being idiots. It's disgusting, really. Making fun of or denigrating one's spouse in social situations. It's a crafty thing to do. Family friend would do this to their husband and it's saddening. Karma is a bitch though. For the longest time their son was in a similar relationship and it would kill her. I think only then she realized how crafty it is. Blind loyalty. Loyalty is seen as such a positive trait, and people who are not loyal are seen as snakes, rats, etc. While I understand the importance of loyalty to an extent, e.g., we shouldn't be cheating on our partners or breaking promises, I don't understand why people are applauded for being blindly loyal to people who have done something wrong or go against your values, etc. If I'm blindly loyal to my workplace, and find out they're engaging in shady practices, I'm applauded for keeping my mouth shut. If I'm blindly loyal to my family, and find out they're a bunch of abusers, I'm a monster and ingrate for leaving them behind. If I'm blindly loyal to a politician, and then find out they have some dark side I don't agree with, I'm expected to back them up and justify it. If I'm blindly loyal to a friend and find out they raped someone, I'm still expected to stand by them because they're my friend. If I'm blindly loyal to an idea, not even another human, but some value or belief, and then that idea is challenged, I should be able to learn from that and grow, rather than stick to something that could be incorrect or problematic. I don't understand why blind loyalty is so applauded. We should be open to learning and changing, and we should be encouraged to understand consequences and think about our actions, rather than believing that we should be backed up, and should back up our team no matter what. I see this a lot in Suits. Everyone is so loyal to each other even when they F up big time, and then if someone does objectively the right thing, but it hurts one of the others, they're shunned. I feel like a lot of never turn your back on family rhetoric is used by abusive people that think they shouldn't face consequences for their bullcrap. I've also seen it used by people who are just truly naive. A work acquaintance found out I hadn't talked to my mother in 20 years, and this visibly upset her. She would bring it up from time to time, even though I never gave her any hint that it was an appropriate thing to discuss. One day she said, "I just don't understand what could be so bad," and I snapped. I turned to her and very pointedly said, "You're right, you don't understand. And you should thank God for that." She never brought it up again. Combined with you have to be grateful for everything they did to you. Homie, they chose to have a kid. Accepting the responsibility that come with that decision, instead neglecting said kid, isn't a saintly accomplishment, it's the baseline expectation for not being an utter piece of crap. I don't know about other places, but in the US, internships that delegate actual business responsibilities to interns but don't pay them. If your intern calling in sick would disrupt your workflow, they're not an intern, they're an employee, and they deserve a wage. That is the best definition of what deserves a wage I've ever heard. Loot boxes and all forms of in-app, in-game purchases that are just dressed up gambling. Introducing minors to gambling with real money for the chance of unlocking that awesome character is pretty sick. Let's trigger gambling addiction in minors because our game is free and it's the only way we can make money. Not having boundaries with family, particularly between parents and their adult children. I can't believe how frequently, but their family is used to rationalize and justify disrespect, manipulation, and various forms of abuse. My mom thinks parents always have a right to know what is going on with their children and deserve to have some power, especially medically. Sorry mom, but you lost your knowledge privilege when you exposed me to the entire family that I have hallucinations and suffer with bipolar. Also, you sent me to residential that was seriously abusive and gave me PTSD as a teen. Yeah, no, it's still a mystery why the doctor won't tell you anything anymore, and yeah, I'm going to decline treatment if I want to. Now the whole family knows about my personal life and everyone talks crap about me, and I am humiliated at every family gathering I ever go to. Hating your partner spouse. It's the dynamic of like 90% of on-screen relationships, that the couple have nothing in common and don't share interests and never do anything together without fighting constantly, but they love each other, so all the toxic, manipulative behavior gets played off for laughs or proof of how strong they are. Your partner should be your best friend. You should want to spend time with them. You should enjoy being around them. You should look forward to seeing them when you're apart. The number of people who have said to me, if you're not fighting all the time, you're not really in love, is absolutely staggering. And honestly, as far as entertainment goes, it's not a funny dynamic for me. Yes. My mom always talks crap to me about her husband and then says things like, but I'm sure you're so drives you crazy too. No. I'm not going to lie and talk crap about my wife to make you feel like your crappy marriage is normal. The amount of crap guys especially get for being excited about their partner saddens me. My brother-in-law legitimately calls my sister his best friend, and regularly begs off hanging with the guys because he wants to go home and hang out with her, which often earns him whipped noises, rude comments about their sex lives, and/or derision. He says it mostly makes him feel bad for their partners. Edit. When I said he blows off hanging out with the guys, I meant he begs off. I mixed up my phrases, okay? He has friends he regularly hangs out with, but when their established plans are finished and some guys want to go hang out at the bars, he usually says his goodbyes because he wants to go home and relax, which to him means hanging out with my sister and their dog and doing a puzzle or something. Toxic positivity/optimism. Let people grieve. Don't invalidate someone's feelings and sadness. Original poster replies. This, as well as saying things like, "You'll be fine" or "Everyone has hardships" and other false assuring sayings. Sometimes people need to feel, and if they reach out, sometimes you just need to be there to listen. People who have perfected the art of backhanded compliments. Casual peer pressure. I already said no twice to your offer of a drink, shut up. Ironically, my mom was deathly afraid of it when I was a teenager. Some dealer would assuredly convince me to try bad drugs, but now she's the worst offender. This is just me, but my mom is manipulative. It's very subtle, but also very effective. She could easily be the nicest person on the planet, but instead chooses to use her incredible skill to get her way and be petty. I didn't notice it until recently, and I've lived with her my entire life. Up until last year I didn't know why I couldn't stand to be around her. Edit. I'm moving out soon, and she's pulling out all the stops trying to coerce me to stay. Hell to the no. Don't speak ill of the dead. Literally why? If someone was a bad person, then dying doesn't wipe off their sins. Speak nothing but good of the dead. He's dead, good. Making fathers seem as though they're somehow lesser parents than mothers. As a dad, I hate the old "oh, did you get stuck babysitting?" No, babysitting is when you look after someone else's kids. What I'm doing is called parenting, and I'm not stuck doing it. I want to do it because this is my child and I actually want to be actively involved in his upbringing. For sure. I was a single dad for years, and I don't know how many times my kids would break down after a visit to the store because there was always the people thinking they're being funny. Oh, mom trusted you with the grocery shopping this time? Type crap to me. Or did dad get in trouble and now has to take a turn grocery shopping? To my, at the time, young children. The reality is, their mom ditched us when they were 3 and 6, and those comments hurt my kids so effing much. Also, every sitcom, commercial, act is always dad's too dumb to put a car seat in. Dad doesn't know how to cook. Mom's cooking dinner and dad just wants sex and TV. Dad makes a mess and mom has to clean it type stuff. Like, for F's sake, I've never been in a relationship like that, and I don't think I've ever met a family with that dynamic. Stop driving that stereotype. Sorry for the rant. Manipulating your partner or date into changing their personality. Alcohol. Prioritizing punishment over rehabilitation or reconciliation. And I know everyone's first thought when reading that is about prison systems, where obviously it is valid, but this is seen in every aspect of life: the way parents treat misbehaving children, the way poor performing students are treated in school, the way bad employees are treated in workplaces, the fact that the default response to relationship posts on Reddit with any hint of conflict is dump his slash her butt. This mindset is pervasive despite the fact that punishment is shown over and over again to be extraordinarily ineffective compared to alternatives. The expectations women set for their weddings. So many women need to have a better wedding than the next bride. The bachelorette parties last 3 days and you have to fly across the country half the time. Just to marry the love of your life? So toxic. Air pollution. Every day billions of people breathe in potentially dangerous substances emitted by cars, factories, etc., and we are just used to it. We should have the right for our air to not be toxic. Social media influencers. The Clean Plate Club. TM06. Gender reveal parties. Hitting your children. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.